Yo, haven't done one of these in a while, but today why don't we do a quick and dirty guide on how to power level in D2 The Edge of Fate, which, warning by the way, is kind of painful. We'll also have a quick section on why to power grind and do you even need to, because the answer to that question is honestly kind of complicated, but more on that in a minute. Sorry if I'm kind of quiet by the way, my voice is a little gone after having attended GCX. Stick around until the end of the video to both learn a pretty cool trick you can use to make the grind a little bit easier and to also learn a little bit more about this signed Pantheon poster, which I'll be giving away later this month on Twitch to one lucky viewer. Okay, to make things easier, I'm breaking up today's video into the following chapters. Feel free to skip ahead if you already feel like you have a pretty good idea on basics. And on that note, the basics. When you start off in Edge of Fate, you'll start off at a base power level of 10, which is the lowest number you can hit right now. Many of us already know that, but again, starting simple. Your first goal will be to hit what is now known as the persistent power cap of 200. This is pretty easy to do. You just play the game. Basically, all your drops you earn by playing will slowly but surely push you towards a power level of 200. When your power level is that low, all you need to use are enhancement cores to do infusion. Upgrade modules are no longer a thing. Thank the good Lord. I know the Edge of Fate has been live for a little bit already, but if you're starting late, I recommend playing the campaign on legendary difficulty first, as when you end up finishing, you won't be 200, but you'll be somewhere noticeably over the 100 power mark. After you've done that, continue playing literally anything in the portal until you finally hit 200. When picking an activity in the portal, be sure to keep an eye on both the completion reward and also any bonus drops that you might get. Obviously, the more rewards you get, the better, but at this point, until you hit 200, you can really play anything. By the way, it's called the persistent power cap because in December, when we get the Renegades update, we won't get knocked all the way back down to 10 power like we were at the beginning of Edge of Fate. We'll just get knocked down to 200 as the new starting point. All right, now a very interesting question. Why should you power grind and do you even need to? And the answer is, well, yes, but actually no. As you go up in power level, you will slowly gain access to higher difficulty content. And as you play higher difficulty content, the game will begin to reward you with higher tiered gear. AKA, we start off earning tier 1 gear, but then as you climb to 200 and 300 power, you'll start to earn tier 2 and tier 3 gear, and then much later in the power grind, you'll finally gain access to tier 4 and tier 5 gear. But the question you should really ask yourself though is that something that you, literally you, the individual watching this video, actually needs? For some of you, that answer will be yes. Players who like doing things like extreme build crafting and having perfect armor stats for literally the best in-game builds possible, yeah, you may want to power grind because remember, tier 4 and tier 5 gear gives you much better stats. And with the newly reworked armor stats, having a very high weapon stat or a very high grenade stat will literally allow you to do way more weapon damage or way more grenade damage, for example. But for many of you, that answer will probably be, not really. While the power grind does give many people something to chase after, the average casual D2 enjoyer who doesn't super care about perfect min-maxed endgame builds probably does not need to hardcore power grind in this system. In short, because the difficulty bar is always going up with you as you're power leveling up in the current system doesn't often really make you feel more powerful. You're just kind of doing it to prevent yourself from being underleveled and getting wrecked too hard in any given activity. Anyway, super TLDR, if you want higher tier gear for either weapons or for armor, then by all means, subject yourself to the grind. Okay, after you've hit the persistent power cap of 200, getting to 300 becomes a little bit more challenging and time consuming. First of all, infusing gear above 200 will now also require unstable cores, a new currency. By the way, start hoarding those now because as you climb higher and higher in the power level grind, infusion is going to start to get very expensive. You can get unstable cores by dismantling gear that has a power stat of over 200, aka if the number is lightish blue, and also via the seasonal hub section of the portal, which I'll get to later. For right now though, if you open up the portal menu, your options for power grinding are essentially down in the bottom left. Solo activities are obviously ones you can do by yourself, and they're often pretty short. Fireteam and Pinnacle Ops are very similar. Both are activities meant to be done by fire teams of 3, but the Fireteam missions are usually shorter and easier, while the Pinnacle missions are typically longer. Crucible is Crucible, and reminder that you can do that for power grinding if you want. I've actually been so busy with the grind, the raid guide, and GCX that I haven't touched a single match of PvP in Edge of Fate as of right now, but yeah, they can offer you a decent amount of drops, so don't forget that it's there. Anyway, yeah, yeah, you can pick whatever you want to play the most, but I'll keep it a buck. As of this exact moment, the two activities that players are grinding the most by far are Solo Ops Caldera if you're a solo player, or Pinnacle Ops Starcrossed if you have two homies who also want to power grind. Take note that there are also extra bonus focus rewards that can appear from time to time. For example, at the exact moment I am writing this, the Kel's Fall exotic mission has a chance, keyword chance, to also drop a free mint retrograde if you get a grade B rank or higher. Therefore, pay attention to that too if there's a particular weapon you'd like to nab when grinding. And if you're wondering why are people only grinding Caldera and Starcrossed, the TLDR is time. Once you get a few practice runs under your belt, you can basically equip an Eager Edge sword and zoom through these activities in just a few minutes. My average Caldera completion time while watching Netflix is around 4.5 to 5 minutes, and my average Starcrossed completion time is around 8-ish minutes depending on who I'm playing with. Is this ungodly repetitive to the point where you may want to scratch your eyes out? Yeah, it is, but it's currently the fastest method. That is until the community potentially discovers more unintended shenanigans. On that note, be sure to ring the notification bell. If I hear of or find any shenanigans, I'll try to let you know before the fun police swoop in. If you're gonna go grind these activities, it is imperative that you try to get your reward rank up to an A. For example, right now my projected reward rank is a C, and the reward I'll get if I complete this activity will be a piece of gear at 281 power, which is 1 over my current overall combined power level of 280. I add a few custom in-game modifiers that will make the content I'm about to play a little bit harder. Bada bop boom pow, and now we have moved up the reward rank to an A. Now, when we complete the activity, we'll get a piece of gear that is 284 power, which is 4 over my current overall combined power level. TLDR, try to get to reward rank A on any activity before you begin your grind. The current easiest modifier by far to put on that should move the needle the most is equipment locked activity, where you basically can't change anything in your loadout mid-game play, but just go in with a good loadout and you'll be fine. Also, remember that your reward multiplier is determined not only by your current power, but also by your equipped new gear. So if you have more new gear equipped, this will also help you inch a little closer to a reward rank A if you're struggling to get to an A. Random tip, by the way, when just starting out with portal grinding, your list of available activities will include a training section. Mine is no longer there because I completed them. I do kind of recommend burning through the training options until they're all gone. And yeah, even though doing the training runs won't get you any good gear, it will help you with one important thing, and that is having the game remember your in-game modifiers. What I mean by that is, if I'm grinding Solo Ops Caldera and I complete my mission and go to launch a new Solo Ops Caldera, if I haven't finished all my difficulty training runs, I have to manually re-enter my Caldera modifiers each and every time. Not exactly the end of the world, but if you complete all of your training difficulty runs, then the game will remember your modifiers each and every time, so you don't need to manually reapply them. Also take note, as you reach power level 300, the game will try to pull a big sneaky on you and auto kick you up to the next tier of difficulty. As an example, I was grinding Solo Ops Caldera at around 270-ish power, and even though I could still get reward rank A gear from expert level difficulty, the game tries to default you into the master level difficulty. But there's no real reason to do that if you can still get reward rank A gear from the lower level difficulty. Again, there's just no reason to run the higher level difficulty. Therefore, just pay attention and make sure you stick to the expert difficulty for as long as you can, even if the game is trying to force you into master. As long as you can get reward rank A drops, you should be fine. Eventually, when you get to around 280-ish power or so, it'll get a little bit harder to hit reward rank A drops. When that does happen, it is time for you to swap to master, and from here on out, aka from here until you hit around 400 power, the grind will become much more tedious. You'll basically be doing the same things, aka grinding the fastest activities available in the portal if you want to go fast, but the combatants become tougher, the default mods become a little bit harder, and the activities you're trying to speedrun will now include champions. Other than becoming more of a pain in the ass though, you can continue grinding what you wish in the portal up until you reach power level 400. When you hit 400, your final goal for now is to hit 450 power. Again, we have a ceiling of 450 power until the Ash and Iron update drops. Once you hit 400 power, you'll have a fun new enemy to deal with, RNG. Yes, when you hit power level 400, your post-activity rewards will only have a chance of having a higher power drop, and apparently that chance is around 5%. This has been confirmed by several players who are at that stage in the power level grind, and that seems pretty brutal to the point where I'm not really sure if I'll hardcore push myself to go for 450 before Ash and Iron. But yeah, that is how it is. All right, real quick, the two maybe most important chapters in today's video, starting with do not make this mistake, for the love of God. It has been confirmed that for the time being, if you are power level grinding in D2, you need to have your highest power level gear equipped at the end of the activity, or your loot drops will be bugged. Before the Edge of Fate, the game just calculated your overall max power value by analyzing all the gear you had account-wide, meaning whether it was in the Postmaster, the Vault, your character's inventory, whatever. The game would auto-calculate it for you and give you properly leveled gear as a reward. Currently, though, that ain't the case, so until they fix that tremendously annoying glitch, you have to make sure you're rocking your highest power level gear when grinding. This can make things challenging, especially with the equipment locked activity modifier active. If you're doing something that doesn't have that modifier, like for example PvP, then make sure that as the match is ending, you open your menu and put on a loadout that has all of your max power gear. Yes, this is incredibly stupid and annoying, but the bottom line is make sure you have all your max power gear on before you get your drops. Again, if you're just doing solo and pinnacle ops, you can get around this by making sure your grinding loadout is your highest level gear, which is what I'm currently doing. And finally, quick power leveling tips and stuff you should be doing, aka little tips that can help you with your grind, of which I have two. First of all, in your portal menu, do not forget about your seasonal hub menu. The seasonal hub contains daily and weekly challenges that can help you gain weekly seasonal rank, which is down at the very bottom and goes all the way up to a max of weekly rank 20. These rewards are solid on their own, but can also help you with your power grind. Two items in particular to look out for: Armory requisition tokens and Arsenal credits. Armory rec tokens can be taken to Commander Zavala at the tower in exchange for a particular piece of armor. Basically, if one of your pieces of gear is lagging behind the others, power level wise, you can use this token to go to Zavala and get a higher level one right away, which is great. The Arsenal credits are kind of the same thing, but for weapons. Although take note, the credits work in a weird way. Credits that you earn in the current week can only be redeemed the following week from Zavala, which is kind of weird. Not really sure why Bungie is doing it that way, as the Armory tokens can be used the same week. Don't ask me, man, I'm just out here. Anyway, the second tip, which is really big, is that you take advantage of a Firefox extension called Destiny 2 Season Pass Wayback Machine, which is the new and updated version of something I've talked about before many times, Destiny Season Pass Pass. I'll link this down in the pinned comment, but basically there is a section of Bungie.net where you can go back in time one season to get old rewards from the Season Pass that you've never claimed. With the Edge of Fate, Bungie has axed Season Pass to only letting you go back one season, but the new updated D2 Season Pass Wayback Machine lets you go way back. Yeah, basically you can see all of your unclaimed Season Pass loot from many seasons ago, and the best part is any armor or weapons that you pull forward via that website drop at your current power level. Therefore, if you have a piece of gear that is lagging behind your others, power level wise, just dig into the Wayback Machine, pull it forward, and bam, it drops at your current power level, helping you min-max the power grind way more efficiently. Anyway, that is all for now. Come hang out on Twitch during the month of August to learn more about how you can win this signed metal Pantheon poster in an upcoming giveaway, which I'll be doing based on a channel point raffle. And you can earn channel points for free just by watching me stream on Twitch. I got all these signatures in person at GCX 2025. Thank you for meeting up with me there, by the way. It is signed by a lot of great content creators and some Bungie folk who I caught walking around, like Cosmo, DMG, narrative lead Allison Lurs, and more. Can't wait to send this to somebody in my community, so swing by the channel and good luck. Also, if you have any additional tips about power leveling, be sure to leave them down in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.